These are the last images of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi walking into the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey in October of 2018. According to a U.S. intelligence report declassified on Friday, he was shortly afterwards brutally murdered there by a team linked directly to Saudi Crown Prince Mohammad bin Salman. Washington says the prince gave the green light to the capture or the killing of Khashoggi. Prince Mohammed vehemently denies having any role in the murder and rejects the report. Khashoggi's fiancée, on the other hand, says the report demands the prince be held to account. In a statement published on Twitter, she says it's essential that the Crown Prince, who ordered the brutal murder of a blameless and innocent person, should be punished without delay. And she's not alone in criticizing what's perceived as a lack of firm White House action. Experts in the United Nations have followed suit, saying sanctions on those individuals involved in Khashoggi's murder, but not Prince Mohammed himself, are not enough. The State Department's response is to say the Biden administration's goal is not to end, but recalibrate the U.S.'s relationship with the Saudis.
We have made crystal clear, and will continue to do so, that the brutal killing of Jamal Khashoggi 28 months ago remains unacceptable conduct. At the same time, our relationship with Saudi Arabia is important. It's important to U.S. interests, and it requires continued progress and reforms.
Still, the White House press secretary added the U.S. was not limiting its options.
Of course, we reserve the right to take any action at a time and manner of our choosing.
The Biden administration says it now wants to focus on the future conduct of Saudi Arabia to see if it improves its human rights record.
Well, where the U.S. has held back, others have not. The press watchdog Reporters Without Borders has filed a criminal complaint with the German public prosecutor against the Saudi Crown Prince over Khashoggi's killing. The complaint is seeking an inquiry under Germany's international jurisdiction laws. It accuses Saudi Arabia of persecuting Khashoggi as well as dozens of other journalists. As you heard, Khashoggi was a U.S.-based contributor to the Washington Post. He was murdered at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. It's believed on the orders of the Saudi Crown Prince. All right, for more now, we want to bring in Rebecca Vincent. She's Director of International Campaigns with Reporters Without Borders. She joins me from London. Rebecca, it's good to have you on the program. Even if the courts were to convict the Crown Prince, what effect do you think it would have? I mean, what do you hope to achieve with this lawsuit?
We hope to achieve accountability. I think it would certainly be a significant factor for any of the officials named, especially the Saudi Crown Prince, to find a court decision against them in any jurisdiction. They have gambled with the fact that they can get away with these horrific crimes, and so far they have. And that gamble has been pretty safe so far, because what we've seen is an international situation of impunity for the vast majority of crimes against journalists. In the past decade, there have been nearly 1,000 journalists killed around the world, nearly all with full or partial impunity. And at any given point, there's nearly 400 journalists imprisoned around the world. So at Reporters Without Borders, we're trying to now impose costs for this. We're looking at Saudi Arabia, which has long held one of the world's worst press freedom records. The murder of Jamal Khashoggi is one of the most horrific examples of a crime against journalists in modern history. And the bold-faced impunity with which it was committed make it especially necessary to achieve some form of justice here. But not just for Jamal, but the 34 journalists that we've named as well that have suffered arbitrary detention and a range of other systematic and widespread crimes in Saudi Arabia.
Rebecca, if you could, tell us more about the significance of this German law which allows prosecution of individuals who committed certain crimes outside of Germany.
Well, universal jurisdiction exists in other states as well. We chose to bring this suit in Germany for a number of reasons. We think that the judiciary is likely to be favorable to it, and political conditions are right as well. But there are other countries where this sort of lawsuit would, in theory, be possible. However, it's a fairly creative step. I don't know of another NGO who has taken an action quite like this, arguing crimes against humanity have been committed in these acts against journalists. It's part of our Justice for Journalists task force within RSF, where we are trying to find creative solutions to impose concrete costs for crimes against journalists where justice within their own countries is not possible.
And let me ask you, you say that you chose Germany because the political conditions are right. You're in London. Was the UK considered a country where this may not be looked upon so favorably?
The UK also has universal jurisdiction, but we didn't look particularly here for a number of reasons. Not just politically, but I have to say the UK government's position on Saudi Arabia has been really disappointing. Clearly, there are other interests in the bilateral relationship. It is very rare for our Foreign Office here to take a strong position, hardly ever publicly, on any case, related to human rights in Saudi Arabia, with few exceptions. And when other areas of the relationship continue, such as arms sales, it sends a clear signal to Saudi Arabia that other countries are willing to engage in business as usual. But for these 33 of the 34 journalists named for arbitrary detention, 33 are currently in prison. For these 33 people and their families, I mean, enough is enough. We can't continue to enable this repression as, in our democratic states. So we're hoping to help find other ways to address this, to impose concrete costs where our own states are failing so far.
Rebecca Vincent, Director of International Campaigns at Reporters Without Borders. Rebecca, we appreciate your time and all the work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.